Good morning and welcome to the July 15th session. As usual, before we start, we open with a prayer, and today, first time, right? Second time, Pastor Bill Rillo, Monterey Baptist Church. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the privilege. My name is Bill Rillo from Monterey Baptist Church in Owensville, Ohio. And let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, I thank you, Lord, that you have granted each one here today another day of life. Pray that we don't take it for granted, but Father, you've allowed us another 24 hours to serve you by serving others. I thank you, Lord, for this Board of Commissioners, for the responsibility that they have. You tell us in the Word, the Bible, that you put leaders in place and you take leaders down. And so, Father, we're thankful to have these representatives here serving you, Lord, serving us as our representatives. Father, we know that this job is not always easy. Father, they face many difficult decisions, hard decisions. And so I pray today that you would grant them the wisdom of Solomon to know what to do, the right thing to do, the right way to do it, the right time for it. And sometimes, Father, as we make decisions that affect other people, those decisions are difficult. Even doing the right thing is sometimes unpopular, and it's hard, and it's opposed. So, Lord, I pray that you would grant them the courage of Daniel, who was faced with a life or death choice to do what was right. And Lord, you gave him the courage to do what was right. So I pray for each of these individuals, Father, as they serve. I pray that you would allow them to serve today with joy. I ask that you would encourage them, that you would guide them and lead them. Father, I pray for their health, that not only they could serve you in health, but you would bless them with good health, bless their families as well. Lord, I pray that you would oversee all of the situations, all of the decisions that go on today, that you would be our guide. I pray this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. In his name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much. We are honored to have one of our deputies here today. Would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the regular session minutes of July 8th, 2026. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes. Item C is a presentation by Sean Riley, Director of our Clermont County Emergency Management Agency. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Morning, Commissioners. So what we're going to be looking at today is our county hazard mitigation plan, which has finally received both state and federal approval. So we'll be submitting it here today to achieve county approval here with the Commissioners. So we're going to walk through the highlights of the plan, kind of what it says, and we'll conclude with that. So we are required by federal statute to update and compile a hazard mitigation plan at the county level every 5 years. And this is that update. And part of what we do with that, it's codified by the Stafford Disaster Relief Act, is that we go through and we identify hazards in the county that could potentially affect us. We figure out mitigating factors, and we try to come up with some way to obtain funds to address those mitigating factors. The plan itself is a really, really lengthy report in its entirety. I believe it's 480 pages. We won't go through that today for you and for me. But the process was very lengthy. With this, because of the nature of the work that goes into it, we worked with a contractor. A lot of work that was done with that was done before I came on board. So we are now finalizing that process. So I will say this to say that you're going to see a lot of the numbers in here when we talk about it are going to say 2025. It's because that was the original due date. There were some things that got pressed back in the process that pushed it into 2026. But this is the 2025 hazard mitigation plan that we're going to look at here today. You can kind of see a timeline right there that kind of loosely discusses what we just talked through. And you can see it is an entire process. Includes 3 required public meetings to obtain data and information from the populace about things that they might be concerned about. And we're talking about things that can be as big as a dam failure or something as small as just a culvert or a ditch that will continually flood. But we want to look at all those things and be aware of them so that we can try to get a good picture of the county and things that we can do to try to address those potential hazards. So the plan lays out into 5 sections. You can kind of see them there. There's a brief introduction that kind of covers just the basics of the county, the outlay of the county, the different townships and the municipalities held within it, and kind of the nature of them. As we all know in here, that the county that we're in, depending on where you're at in the county, looks and feels very different. This plan tries to address that and capture that before we step into the actual risk assessment portion, which it does. So we go through, and this is, again, very in-depth in the potential hazards that can affect us. In the world of emergency management, the traditional risk formula is risk equals threat times vulnerability times consequence. So we take a look at those things, not just from what the actual consequence would be if something bad happened, but also what the likelihood of it actually happening would be, and what factors would have to actually occur for that to happen based on historical evidence and things that we've seen here and other places. Then once we're done with that, we come up with a mitigation strategy to address each of those risks, try to figure out how to integrate them and maintain the plan moving forward. And then the appendices listed at the bottom are the last portion of the actual plan itself. You can kind of see just a thumbnail sketch here of the stakeholders and partners that were brought in through the process of looking at this planning, and it's very broad. Again, we're looking at all aspects with this because this is meant to be a deep dive into the potential things that could affect the county. That said, based off all the things we just kind of talked through, this was kind of the top 16 that came out in terms of hazards that could potentially affect the county. The top one I think is in some ways surprising, in some ways not. I don't know that that's even been listed in past plans as a hazard, but in the world we live in, it has very quickly become something that affects us all. I think we all know that a lot of our publicly held critical infrastructure have systems attached to it that have some type of computer is assigned to them. So when we talk about cyber, we're not just talking about theft of money. We're also talking about potential degradation of the critical lifelines that hold up our way of life. You can kind of see down through there a lot of the other natural and man-made hazards we would normally see and the rankings that are there. We'll kind of jump in now and talk about each of these individually. So again, this plan is meant to cover all hazards, whether they're man-made, whether they're natural, or whether they're mechanical. And we approach it that way because at the end of the day, if something affects the county, we're concerned about it no matter what the cause of it was. So again, we start with the cyber incident that we just kind of talked through. So things that we can do to try to mitigate the effect of cyber attack. We want to continue to educate employees, especially within the county, with the things that we address on things as it relates to cyber hygiene. I know all of us in here who are county employees know we take trainings. We work with KnowBe4 in terms of what to recognize and how to work through with that. The most likely attack on something as it relates to cyber is through a phishing attack, which is essentially they just put out a misleading email and have you click on a link that looks wrong, and then they gain access to your accounts and try to compromise things that way. So we're working to try to work through that. Again, training, MFA, which these are broad scope things. This happens everywhere, and just continued education on that to try to help people know what they should and shouldn't do when they're operating a machine and a computer. Tornadoes are obviously a a hazard for us here in Clermont County. Continue to work with the localities and municipalities that hold the sirens. You can see here off to the right is a map of the sirens we do have within the county. I believe it's 57 of them. Hold me to that off the top of my head, but I think that's right. And they're located out in the county. Obviously, we're a little bit more dense with those in the western portion of the county where we have denser population. But you can kind of see the location of those, and we continue to work through with that to try to get outside alerts out to folks, and also continue to work through with our cell phone coverage and our wireless emergency alert messaging to get messaging out if there's a tornado warning out to people through their cell phones also, provided they've not opted out of them. Flooding, also another large hazard here in the county. We see those fairly frequently. We had a large river flood here in the county just over a year ago. Things we can do with that is we continue to try to manage our water systems. I mean, with a river flood, that's maybe not quite as pertinent, but also with our flash flooding, which we had some in the county just this past weekend, try to work with ditches, try to work with those culverts, try to keep those clear so that we're able to move water away from structures as best we can. We also, again, back to warnings, try to get information out to people as it becomes available, and work with the National Weather Service to provide that information out to our partners. Flood insurance at the bottom is a big one in terms of mitigation for actual cost. If you don't have the opportunity to have either other insurance, it's just to try to get flood insurance if you can. Obviously, that makes the damage from those to persons a lot less on the other end. Severe summer weather. Again, we've had our share of that here in the last couple weeks. We know that that's a continued hazard and threat to the county. No weather radios are a mitigating mean for that. It's a good low-cost option for our populace. Generally, you can get a good no weather radio for $30 or less. Again, we work through with the National Weather Service and try to promote their different products and try to get information out to people as it becomes available. Utility failure, any type of a large power outage, we work closely with our partners with Duke to try to be aware of when and where that might be and try to get things turned back on when we have to. Aside from that, tree trimming is a thing to try to keep trees away from lines so that the wind doesn't knock the tree into the line. And can also encourage all of our mission critical facilities to develop and maintain a continuity of operations plan, or a COOP. We're actually in the process of updating our COOP plans at the county level right now. Hazmat is a thing for us here in Clermont County. We have the Ohio River, which transports hazardous materials. We have several state routes that transport them, and we also have some production facilities here in the county that hold those. We have a local emergency planning committee that works with prevention on that regularly. Actually have a meeting coming up here on Thursday. Part of that is that Tier 2 reporting is part of the Community Right to Know Act. Facilities that hold certain materials in certain quantities have to report that to the public to make that information available. That's been in place since the 1980s. Through that process, we also work with our local fire departments and facilities with exercises and plans to try to be aware of what's in the county and what we would do to approach it if we did have some type of hazardous material incident. Invasive species. Unfortunately, we've seen our fair share of these across the board. Of course, you hear a lot about the emerald ash borer as that affects our forests. You hear an awful lot about the harmful algae blooms as we kind of see those in the summer. So what we can do about that is we continue to try to educate the public, try to encourage folks not to move firewood in from out of state, try to encourage our partners in our farming communities to, as best they can, manage runoff from fertilizer into our waterways. Public health emergencies. Obviously, we're on the downside of one of a generational one here. See a picture there from a pod that was in New Richmond in the middle of the pandemic. We want to be available and have the things we need to disseminate to the populace and to our partners if we need them. That includes outreach to our participating jurisdictions, make sure they're up on them and aware of what we're doing. and then our opioid prevention and the distribution of Narcan out throughout the communities to folks who need that also. We are obviously at the risk of any point during the winter or months of some type of winter storm. Had a major one this past year, 11 inches of snow across the entire area. We just want to maintain public education with folks, let them know as best we can if the roads are going to be bad, and try to limit their driving on them if they can, and try to encourage folks in terms of things, kits to have in their car, blankets, those sorts of things if they are going to be traveling in case they break down. Wildfire, that's something we can see here. It's something we are seeing right now in Minnesota. If you go out there and it looks a little smoky, we're seeing some of that smoke start to matriculate down here from the wildfires up in Minnesota right now. Basically, we just want it's information on public burns, when burn season is. Don't throw a lit cigarette or a match down on the ground in certain times of the year, or really ever. And that those educational points from a mitigation standpoint can help with that. Dam failure. As I look at this, it looks like we have a typo, so I apologize for that. Dam owners without an N. I think autocorrect got us there. But our mitigation factors for that is we want to continue to work with our partners with ODNR and with the Corps of Engineers to be aware of what we have. I believe we actually have 7 Class 1 dams in the county. Class 1 means that if there was a complete failure, there would be loss of a structure or loss of life likely. We have many other dams that don't reach that threshold that we still have to be concerned about. So we work with them. All of our Class 1 dams have emergency action plans associated with them, and those have to be updated. Work with the Corps of Engineers with the 2 dams in the county that they maintain, which are East Fork, or actually it's just East Fork. ODNR has worked with Stone Lick and with East Fork, but we continue to work with those, talk with them to try to figure out what that would look like, and work with that planning in case we actually would have some type of a failure, but I'm confident we wouldn't see a full failure at those dams. Landslides, again, is something we can have. We try to keep things away from slide-prone areas, fill and dumping, mitigation guidance to our property owners, and try to put things in place to reinforce soil. You've seen that, rocks, concrete, those sorts of things to hold things in place to keep our slips and stuff down to a minimum. Obviously, we're concerned about that always. We're really concerned around structures or around roadways. Terrorism or civil disturbance, that ranks lower down on the list because of likelihood. Obviously, in terms of impact, if we had something like that happen in a school or at an outside event or a venue like that, the consequences of that would be catastrophic. So we will continue to work with law enforcement and try to put things in place to plan for that, to get education out for folks, and continue to try to educate our public that if they see something, to say something and report that to local authorities. Extreme temperatures, again, we've kind of had our fair share of that here in the last couple of weeks. Try to provide guidance out to the population, try to let them know of cooling shelters and things they can get to if it's too hot, especially for our vulnerable populations. Drought is something we can incur, and that potentially affects the farming portions of our community. Try to get our farmers to purchase crop insurance and try to figure out what they can do to get water to their plants if they need it. Earthquakes, we just continue to try to provide education to the public in terms of awareness and general mitigation. We do sit very close to a fault line, so we have to be aware of that. We haven't seen effect from that since the 1800s, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't see it at some point. And Madrid fault, I believe it is. So kind of our next steps with that, after an overview of the hazards that we outlined in the plan, is now once we're able to get our adoption here within the county, provided we get it, we will forward that out to our municipalities and villages. They'll have a year from the federal date, which I believe is June 24th, to adopt that on their own. Hopefully, happen a little bit quicker than that. Once we're at that spot and it's been adopted by the villages and the townships, then we're all eligible at that point again to apply for disaster mitigation funds, and we'll be approved until we start this whole thing over again in 2029. So that's kind of just the brief overview of what we've got. Are there any questions questions or anything like that at this point about the presentation itself?
No, very thorough. Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
Presentation was good.
Thank
Mitigation factors, Beckjord. Obviously, Beckjord is an impoundment that, holds thousands and thousands of pounds of ash from the Ohio River. One of the things that's required down there by EPA is an annual inspection of those impoundments and an annual exercise as to the ability for Pierce Township to be able to respond to that. That has not occurred in over 2 years.
Okay.
So, two things there that are, definitely suspect to have to mitigate is one, proper planning to be able to have an exercise. In fact, if I remember, the plan that they have on file right now is 3 sheriffs removed from our current sheriff. And so there needs to be some real attention to that to ensure that we do mitigate those factors, because if that material would slough off and go into the Ohio River, it's not only going to have an impact to us, it's going to have an impact to Hamilton County immediately.
Of course. Yes, sir. I agreed.
You bet.
That's something for us to kind of take into notion when we do our rewrite here in 2029.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, next we have a presentation by Ursula Miller.
Good morning. I'm Ursula Miller. I'm Communications Coordinator for the county. Good morning, everyone. I am here to present our 2025 annual report. So I'm going to pass out hard copies in a moment, but we've also got it online. David's pulled it up. It's linked in several places on our website. Our message is, well, as it says, the future looks bright. We've got a lot of growth going on. I think most people know that. If you live here in Clermont County or work here. But the important key message is what the commissioners and staff are doing to help balance that growth and address topics that are important to be aware of, like housing, studies, and infrastructure planning. So trying to balance all that and be careful about how we do grow. So I don't have a lot to add unless anyone has any questions.
No questions. You have copies to hand out today?
do,
Is
I
that great?
Thank you,
Very
Ursula.
nice. Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
As I say, pass a few around that there. Let them share.
Okay, moving on to item D is public participation. Do we have anyone that would like to speak today? Okay, so before you do, let me read my little statement. During this time, the board does not answer questions nor engage in a debate. The commissioners are not expected to comment on matters brought to the board during this time. In accordance with the board's rules, your comments are limited to 2 minutes. So if you would give your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Sylvia Reeves. I live in Miami Township. Thank you for allowing me to present today. I'm here with one question. What are you doing as our county commissioners and to protect our voting process in the upcoming general election? I'm extraordinarily concerned about election tampering by federal officials. In this room, I don't have to preach to anyone about the sanctity of the vote. However, I do need to know that you as commissioners are aware that in other Ohio counties, there has been interference with voter registration. And in other states, elected officials have been threatened and even forced into litigation to clear their names of baseless accusations. I am doing my part. I have been honored to train and serve as a polling place worker. I worked the primaries this past spring, and I intend to serve this county again in November. It was not the easiest thing to be a volunteer in this position, but it's certainly one of the most important ones that I have ever engaged in. It's my understanding that the county needs dozens more volunteers to fully staff all polling places and maintain those proper checks and balances that do ensure ballot integrity. I urge you to make a point of supporting our Board of Election team and their efforts to recruit poll workers. I urge you to voice support of voter registration loudly. I urge you to prepare for and resist any and all attempts by federal authorities to interfere with, invalidate, or manipulate voting results from our county. I also want to use this platform to highlight a local group that I'm a part of. It is called the Ballot Integrity Alliance of Cincinnati. The mission statement of our nonpartisan group is available on our Facebook page. The QR code that we have available will direct you to that page so you can see that it is a nonpartisan county area. I'll need one more minute if that's possible. Elected representatives in Ohio have a constitutional duty to hold free and fair elections. The executive branch of the federal government should not be allowed to interfere. So, once again, my question is, what are you going to do to protect our votes in the coming general election? I'll appreciate any time or opportunity for hearing your response. Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. I've worked those polls many a times in years past, so very important job. Yeah. Anyone else? Yes.
Yvonne Delgado, Union Township. Can I begin?
Yeah.
Great. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again, commissioners. I am back once again. If your memory doesn't fail you, I've been here once before talking about the need to move public comment time to a later day. Now, why is that? You may notice, once again, I'm the only young person in this room. It's not a big room, it's not very filled, and a lot of them are your own employees. Why is that? Because public comment is at 10:30, when people are working, when people are at school, when a lot of my friends who would otherwise be here are working and at school. And believe me, they have thoughts, and they have thoughts for you three. But they cannot come here to give those thoughts, nor engage in this process at the most critical time when they should, when they're young, when they have 60 years in front of them, when they got to worry about stuff like housing, like the environment, like disaster prevention, like water. They must be involved in their community actions. Now, there is a saying that goes around, a common stigma: young people are not involved. They don't vote, they don't come to these things. And I say it's because it's extraordinarily difficult. Again, if you're choosing between your salary, and many of my friends require 2 jobs now to maintain rent with several people, they're going to choose the money coming in that lets them pay for food, lets them pay for electricity, which climbs by the day, than coming here to this meeting at 10:30 in the morning, sacrificing their salary, sacrificing their wage for 2 minutes of time to talk to our Board of Commissioners who have no obligation to respond. Now, my request is not that you respond, nor that you extend the time, nor that you change this entire meeting. It's that you hold another public comment time at a later time, say 7 p.m., like all the trustees do across the county, so that young people, and I can guarantee you, there'd be no fewer than 30 people under 30 at those meetings. Because I've heard from them, I've talked to them, they want change, they want education, they want to be involved, but this time is killer. And I'll tell you, I'll see many generations of commissioners after yours. Again, I got 60 years left on this planet, God willing. I'd like to invite you, the honor to be the generation of commissioners who give young people a better chance of involvement in this county. I guarantee you'll be smiled upon favorably, and you'll be remembered fondly. That's all.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Kevin Bruce from Union Township, Union. I thank you, Sylvia, for presenting that question, and also Yvonne. The president has just removed the leadership of the Election Assistance Commissioners body, which is empowered and designed to protect our elections. And apparently on Thursday evening, he's going to speak about how he actually won the 2020 election. This is I want to remind us, this is our 250th anniversary, and it doesn't end on July 4th. It begins on July 4th. In the Declaration of Independence, the questions were raised about the king who refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good, forbid his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent could be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. Refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the right of representation. He's called together legislative bodies in difficult places to reach, endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of land, has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers, has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries, has erected a multitude of new offices, and I'll have to continue next week because it goes on, and that's not without even
You want to
bringing up.
finish it, sir?
Thank you very much.
You want to finish it?
I'm almost done, if I could. Thank you. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance, has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures, has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power, has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our current constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses. Thank you for your patience and
Is there anyone else? Okay, seeing no one, we will move on to item E, which is the consent agenda. Board, we've had this in time to review. Do I have a motion to approve as was presented to us?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes. Moving on to item F is the non-consent agenda. Item 9, it is the recommendation that the Board of County Commissioners adopt resolution number 110-26 to approve payment to vendors in the total amount $2,082,275.51 as outlined in the BCC approval invoice report for checks dated July 15th, 2026. BCC directed prepaid invoices report and the procurement card transaction report as presented by the county auditor on July 13, 2026, further authorizing the county auditor to issue warrants pursuant to and in compliance with Section 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes. Item number 10. Is Sean here? Oh,
He's there.
I thought you left. You're hiding behind Joel.
Oh, yeah. Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So I have a recommendation to adopt resolution number 11126, which is resolving to adopt the 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan designated as Exhibit A, which serves as a strategic guide to protect lives and property through the identification of hazards and development of mitigation strategies in the County of Clermont, Ohio pursuant to 44 Code of Regulation Part 2013 and to maintain eligibility for future hazard mitigation grant program funding.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 10. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Ryan Pilar with the Sheriff's Office. Recommendation to execute the Public Improvement Agreement minor project between the Board of Commissioners of Clermont County, Ohio and Motorola Solutions for the installation of an in-building distributed antenna system at the Clermont County Municipal Court for $63,158 in compliance with the terms and conditions of this agreement and contingent upon the release of the required purchase order.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 11. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes, thank you. Have a good day. Good morning, Wayne.
Good morning.
Recommendation to adopt resolution number 112-26, resolving to amend resolution number 193-25, ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 12/17/2025 for the necessity to purchase or lease of motor vehicles for the use of the county commissioners, any county department, board, commission, office, agency, any elected county official, or any county elected officials' employees at a revised estimated price of $2,952,486 from funds appropriated for calendar year 2026 pursuant to Section 307.41 of the Ohio Revised Code and in compliance with Section 307.86 through 307.92 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 12. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Hi,
Good
Ms.
morning, Commissioners. Dottie Meyer from the Department of Job and Family Services. I have the next three. The first is item number 13. That's a recommendation to execute Amendment 3 to the sub-grant agreement for career services by and between the Workforce Development Board of Butler, Clermont, and Warren, the Area 12 Chief Elected Officials Consortium, and the Board of County Commissioners in Clermont County, Ohio, ratified by the Board of County Commissioners back on 7/26 of 23, and it was since amended on 5/28 of 24 and 6/11 of 25 for the provision of Title I career services under an award from the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, which is the WIOA funds. Other discretionary federal and state grants awarded to adults, dislocated workers, and youth in the local Area 12, with Amendment Number 3 to the extent the effective date of the sub-grant agreement is being made for the additional 12-month period effective through 6/30 of 27. This and to fund state fiscal year 2027 in an amount not to exceed $530,116, with all other items and conditions of the original sub-grant agreement and amendments to remain in full force and effect. This is just simply renewing the same thing. We've gotten verification in regards to funding, so we're asking for the sub-grant agreement to be renewed then for the next year.
Thank you. We've had the reading of item number 13. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes,
Commissioner Corcoran.
Abstain. I sit on the executive committee.
All right. Item number 14 is a recommendation to execute a memorandum of understanding between the Department of Job and Family Services and the Clermont County Family and Children's First Department, whose administrative agent is the Clermont County Department of Job and Family Services, for the establishment of a cooperative and mutually beneficial relationship between all parties to allow for the contribution up to $87,558 per each applicable state fiscal year based on need to Clermont County Family Children's First, which represents the local contribution from the Department of Job and Family Services for the period of 7/1 of 24 through 6/30 of 27. That's fiscal years of 25, 26, and 27, pursuant to the terms and conditions of our MOU, and in compliance with the Clermont County Family and Children's First local contribution policy. And it's also contingent upon the release of the required purchase orders and state TANF allocation for state fiscal year 2027. Just for a little bit of understanding, I know Commissioner Corcoran sits on the committee, but the Children's First program is very active in our county, and it involves a group collaborative efforts between multiple agencies to help. And one of the primary purposes of the FCF is to help give aid to families to keep them out of basically children's services involvement. We try to get involved early, work as a group to provide resources. So this is not just a contribution to the group, but it's also a contribution to try to help aid those families so that they never do get into the CPS and state custody.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So we've had the reading of item number 14. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Abstain, I sit on that committee. That's a great committee.
And item number 15 is now in regards to the recommendation to execute a memorandum of understanding between the Board of County Commissioners, Clermont County, Ohio, and the Clermont County Family and Children's First, whose administrative agent is the Clermont County Department of Job and Family Services, for the establishment of a cooperative and mutually beneficial relationship between all parties to provide for a contribution of $37,558 by the Board of County Commissioners to the Clermont County Family and Children's First, which represents the Board of County Commissioners' local contribution for the period of 7/1 of 26 through 6/30 of 2027 for fiscal year of 2027, pursuant to the terms and conditions of the MOU and in compliance with the Clermont County Family and Children's First local contribution policy and contingent upon the release of the required purchase order. And FCF, I know, is very thankful for this, if you should approve it.
Board, we've had the reading of item number 15. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
I abstain, I sit on the committee again.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Director, before you leave,
Yes. Okay.
give us just a few minutes
Mhm.
on where we're at today with SNAP. You know, I know there's been a lot of meetings, been a lot of input into that. Obviously, we're still looking at error rates. People are very, very concerned about that. I know we take a different approach to that as far as pulling cases, even before the state ever pulls any cases. So
Yes.
could you just a few minutes?
Yes. So just as a reminder, we have a couple things going on with SNAP. One is that the federal government has made the determination that they are going to be asking for a contribution from the state to the actual amount of benefits that are passed out in each county if the error rate exceeds a certain amount. That number is 6. Right now, the state of Ohio is over 6, but we're not as high as we were when we first introduced this issue to the board. I think that we were over 10 at that point. But even just over 6, the contribution from the state of Ohio is going to be well over $3 million, or I think $6 million. I can't remember. Thank you. I know that we're having a lot of conversation in regards with the County Commissioners Association in regards to this. The contributions are not going to be absorbed by the state. It's going to be passed down to the local governments, which is obviously of concern to us because that's something that it doesn't come out of, and it can't come out of the money that comes from the federal and state government. It's actually a local contribution to the amount of benefits that are passed out for state, for
Just as a
SNAP.
point of clarification.
Yes.
That local contribution, is that gauged throughout each county, or is that a state as a whole?
It's the amount of contribution is the state as a whole, but the reality is that the state is not going to absorb that cost. They are passing that cost down to the counties. That's the plan right now. Obviously, that's not what we would like to see, because here in Clermont County, we have a very, very low, most of the time a 0 error rate. But however, there are other counties that obviously are struggling. And it's understandable because in our county alone, we have over 20,000 people that are on SNAP benefits in our county. So what we are doing internally, what we have been doing even before this error rate issue came up, is that Clermont County has its own internal quality assurance where our supervisors have part of their job is that they regularly pull cases from their team and they do a quality assurance review. That's one of the reasons why, and I completely credit Daphne Reeves, who's the head of our public assistance division, and also all of her supervisors with the hard work that they do, and the hard work that the team does in order to keep up quality assurance. So we've been doing that. That's kind of contributed to the fact that our error rate in our county is so low. But now on top of that, the state is now implementing a new procedure where they are pulling some cases just randomly. They're reviewing it themselves and giving us feedback on those cases. But in addition to that, they then have the pool that is like the counting cases, which are pulled for the reporting for the federal government, the ones. So what they're hoping is that they hope with training, they hope with their pulling of cases and reviewing them, that it's going to help increase the quality, but decrease the error rate in all of the counties. Obviously, I don't know what it is as far as just the concentration on this issue, but the error rate has gone down, like I said before, from over 10 to now a little over 6. But it's still an issue because to add on top of that, at the same time, the federal government has now instituted a cut in the administrative funds that are given for the administration of the SNAP program. Now, people can say it's a coincidence. People can say that there's something ulterior there. But the reality is that you're asking for the error rate to be reduced. But at the same time, the federal government is now cutting $800,000 specifically for our county to the administrative, which is workers, people who actually process these applications and talk to the public.
And people who could provide quality assurance to ensure that the error rate stays low. As it stands right now,
Yes.
if the error rate is exceeded in the state of Ohio, everyone would contribute to that cost.
Yes. Yes. Because it's trickling down to the counties. Every county, it doesn't matter what your error rate is. They're wanting the state to all the counties. The state is wanting the counties to look at it in a holistic way. They're wanting us to think of we're a state. We're not just a county. So it's not about how good your error rate is. It's about how good the error rate is statewide.
And just as another question, just for clarification,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to administering SNAP benefits, all states don't administer these benefits.
No.
Many of these states let the federal government do that. And in fact, if I remember in the conversations that we've had on this subject, there were only 10 states out
10
of
or
the
11,
50
yes.
that actually administer these benefits.
Yes.
So those 10 states are not under the auspices of all of the scrutiny and all of these error rates.
No.
And so I have to ask, why do 40 states in America not administer these SNAP benefits? And why do we think that we're better at it than them? Where is that?
I don't know necessarily. I mean, I have my own thoughts, and I don't necessarily know if I want to voice them. But the reality is that these are federal programs. The federal government each state has been given the opportunity to either do it themselves, which the state of Ohio has legislatively decided that they're going to do it. And then they've then passed that down to the local governments to figure out how you're going to do it. But all the while that's happening, the federal government is still guiding how it's to be done, setting the parameters. They then send the money to the state, and then the state, even though they're not taking responsibility for the work, is all then passing down what they think that we need. And if you're going to give it to us, give it to us. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out what works best for our county. But if there's so many bosses at the top that are making these decisions for our county, you can't keep up. You can't do what you need to do. There's so many issues that are associated with this, and we've talked about it. There's issues in regards to a common line of all counties being able to help and have their fingers in these cases to try to help and process these cases. But if they screw up, it's on us. It's not on that county. It's on us. It's on Clermont County. We have to have one person responsible about just reviewing those cases. And in this county, we have our head of our department is reviewing those to check for things. So it's just the amount of work and burden that's being placed on our supervisors and on our staff with really no help from above. And that's concerning.
And when I looked at those 10 states,
Yes.
I really didn't see a real correlation on population. You know, some of these states that do these benefits, that actually manage it, are huge states. If I remember, California, Minnesota, you know, many of them are in the middle of this. And many of those states have crisis in other benefits that are provided, you know, and so it would just seem to me that, you know, maybe this wasn't something that as a state we should have opted for.
It takes state action. It would take the legislatures to make that change. It's not something that we can just one day decide, oh, hey, we're not going to do this anymore because you're not supporting us. But if you think about it, we have over 40,000 people in our county that are on Medicaid. And right now, because of the strict burdens that they're putting on our department to focus so solely on SNAP, we have backlog that we're trying to do overtime, trying to cover that. And we have issues in regards to having enough staff to be able to do that. So fine, if you're going to take SNAP and if you're not going to administer it locally, then you need to think about the funding so we can do the Medicaid that we need to do in our county as well.
We need to get away from federal and state mandates where no money is passed through to the county that actually administers it or manages it.
It's
a problem.
It's not sufficient, that's for sure.
Mhm.
So, but
Are they going to run it like the random moment sampling where they then pull 15 cases and say, okay, look at them. Do you have the opportunity to clean up those cases
No.
at all? Okay.
there's not going to be an opportunity,
All right.
unfortunately.
All right.
You know, we have, that's why they're focused so much on doing these practice pools
Yeah.
so that we can identify these things. But they're
They're reporting. They're reporting. I mean, there were some that had no errors, and I'm like, oh, give me a break.
right.
You know, you
And
get hot.
if you look at the errors, and we've talked about this before, you know, and me trying to keep you updated in regards to this, the errors come from 3 different places: the staff, the actual clients not giving us the right information, and the system itself. So 60% of the errors that happen, no amount of training for our workers is going to fix that. And, you know, the majority of the errors that we're seeing that they're being reported at the state level, that's part of that, is that 60%. You know, nobody's perfect, and we understand that. And we work every day on training and quality assurance, and we try to do the best we can. But 60%, we
And
can't
it's what,
control.
And it's what the client normally gives you when they come in as to whether or not it's all filled out and accurate. And you can't help that. You put in what you get. And then when you go to review it, if it's not there, if you can't find it, you're relying on them to provide it. And they may not know it.
So
I think
So much fun.
I think it takes it back to an old Reagan adage, you know, we're looking for a fix. And the trouble is we're looking to the government and they are the problem. You know, there's where it's at.
again, I won't comment in regards to that, but but I appreciate those sentiments.
I get it.
Thank you, Dottie.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Desmond, I think you're up.
Morning, Desmond.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Desmond Mayata, Community and Economic Development. Item 16 is a recommendation to adopt Resolution 113.26, resolving to adopt the Community Development Block Grant and Home Investment Partnerships Program one-year annual action plan for the County of Clermont, Ohio for fiscal year 2026, and authorize Bonnie J. Batchelor, President of the Board, or in her absence, any other member of the Board of County Commissioners to execute the applications for federal assistance in the amount of $1,062,720 for CDBG funds and $498,043.13 for home funds, including all required understandings, general and environmental certifications, and assurances in compliance with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. So this is the to select projects for the annual action plan for HUD. That will be a draft for 30-day public comment starting later today. It's available in our community development office. It'll be on our website as well.
Okay, thank you, Desmond. Board, we've had the reading of item number 16. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Hi, Joel.
Morning, Commissioners. How are you?
Joel.
Good, you?
Good. Joel Griss, Director, Water Resources Department. Item number 17 is a recommendation to execute a maintenance bond in the amount outlined below as surety for the installation of a water main extension to serve the following location: 2184 Wine Miller Lane, Batavia, Ohio, 45103, in the amount of $4,800.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 17. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Sorry about the board. I just kind of lost it there for a minute.
Get all eyes on you, Gail.
I know, I had my mind somewhere else.
Number 18.
Yes, ma'am. Item number 18 is a recommendation to execute an extension of contract between the County of Clermont, Ohio, and Rumpke of Ohio, Inc. for biosolids and alum residual disposal services for the Clermont County Water Resources Department, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on November 17th, 2021, for an additional one-year period through December 31st, 2027, in compliance with Article 8 of the reference contract, with all other terms and conditions to remain in full force and effect, and contingent upon the adoption of the annual appropriations for 2027 and the release of the required purchase order.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 18. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Number 19.
Item number 19 is a recommendation to execute an extension of contract between the County of Clermont, Ohio, and J.A. Strassinger Trucking, LLC, for biosolids hauling services for the Clermont County Water Resources Department, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on November 17th, 2021, for an additional one-year period through December 31st, 2027, in compliance with Article 8 of the reference contract and with all other terms and conditions to remain in full force and effect, and contingent upon the adoption of the annual appropriations for 2027 and the release of the required purchase order.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 19. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
Good morning, Sandy.
Morning.
Item 20 is a recommendation to adopt a revised table of organization for the Clermont County Kennel, effective upon approval, and authorize the update of the internet links and appendices. This change is taking a current vacant part-time deputy dog warden and making that a full-time position.
Board, we've had the reading of item number 20. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank you,
Thank you.
Sandy. Gail, you got the next.
Yes, recommendation to appoint the following individual to serve on the Board of Directors of the Clermont County Port Authority for the term as outlined below. The person would be John Main, and his term will be 7/15/2026 through 7/14/2030. This will be his first full term.
Okay. Board, we've had the reading of item number 21. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. 22.
Recommendation to approve the following request for reimbursement of expenses for training and travel according to the policies and procedures of the Board of County Commissioners and in compliance with the annual appropriations for calendar year 2026 and any amendments. This would be Clermont County Board of Commissioners, Bonnie Batchelor, 3 days for the County Commissioners Association of Ohio Summer Symposium.
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
I will abstain.
Number 23, this item is a recommendation to adopt resolution number 114-26 to proceed with the submission of the question of levying a renewal tax levy in excess of the 10 mil limitation for children's services and the care and placement of children in the renewal amount, which is 80 hundredths mil for each $1 of taxable value, or an effective rate of $16 per $100,000 of the county auditor's market value for a period of 5 years, to be placed on the 2026 tax duplicate for first collection in 2027 and 4 years thereafter, ending in 2031, for purposes of providing for the necessary requirements of children's services and the care and placement of children in and as it relates to the submission of the question of the tax to the electorate of the entire territory of Clermont County, Ohio, at the general election to be held on Tuesday, 11/3/2026, pursuant to Section 5705.24 and in compliance with Section 5705.03B of the Ohio Revised Code.
Board, we've had the reading of item number 23. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes, thank you.
And just for discussion, that particular issue was for a renewal. It is already what is on the taxable rolls currently. There's no increase associated with that. It remains the same.
Morning, Jamie.
Jamie Tanner from OMB. Item number 24 is a recommendation to rescind financial actions from the July 8th, 2026 regular session relating to changes in the annual appropriation and resolution number 151-24 for calendar year 2026, including the legal level of control and/or interfund transactions, and to authorize Linda L. Fraley, County Auditor, to void their records as outlined below. This was a cash transfer from CCADA and Mental Health Board to Child Day Treatment. We had the object codes, so the revenue and the expense, we had those transposed. So we just need to rescind it, and we will redo it on the upcoming financials in a moment.
Okay. Board, we've had the reading of item number 24 and the explanation. Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
And just to be more difficult, I'm actually going to switch 25 and 26. We just need to do the supplemental before we put that cash transfer.
Okay.
So item number 26 is a recommendation to resolve to approve and authorize changes in the annual appropriation, resolution number 186-25 for calendar year 2026, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 5705.40. So the supplemental is into the Child Day Treatment other expenses fund for $6,894.60.
Okay. Board, we've had the reading item number 26. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
And then back to item number 25. This is the revised cash transfer. Recommendation to resolve to approve and authorize financial and budgetary actions pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, section 5705.40, relating to changes in the annual appropriation in resolution number 186-25 for calendar year 2026. So this is the cash transfer the correct way from the Child Day Treatment into the CCADA and Mental Health Board for $6,894.60.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 25. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank you, Jamie. Okay, moving on to item G. At this time, do we have any additions to the agenda?
We have no additions, but regarding item H, we no longer need section 121.22G3 for executive session.
Okay. So at this time, I am requesting item H, an executive session pursuant to section 121.22 to consider confidential information related to the marketing plan, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance, which information is directly related to a request for economic development assistance. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran. Yes. Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes, we will return after executive session. We have returned from executive session. No actions or decisions were made. At this time, I would ask our administrator, do we have any additions to the agenda?
We do have an addition. I'll let Mr. McClintock, by title only.
Chris McClintock, Community Economic Development Director.
Hey, Chris, can you?
Chris, podium, please.
I am asking that, recommending that we have an add-on to notify the Board of Education of Williamsburg Local School District of a proposed tax exemption.
Okay, can I have a motion for the add-on, please?
So moved.
A second?
Roll call?
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you. So I have a motion to notify the Board of Education of Williamsburg Local School District of a proposed tax exemption and certify to the Board of Education of the Williamsburg Local School District that for each year of the real property identified as Clermont County parcels numbers 523-508H096 and 523-508F014 is exempted from taxation under Ohio Revised Code Section 3735.67. This commission estimates that the amounts of taxes charged and payable on any portion of the assessed valuation of new structures on such parcels that will not be exempted from taxation will equal or exceed 25% of the amount of taxes that would have been charged and payable had the property not been exempted from the tax. And two, that such estimates should be made in good faith.
do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Anything else? No? Okay, moving on then to item I, county staff elected official discussion. Anything? Okay. Moving on to item J, member comments. Commissioner Corcoran, anything?
No, nothing. Thank you.
Commissioner Painter?
Well, we still have a young man here that was talking about meetings. And you were under the impression that if we would have a meeting at 7:00 at night, that it would be well attended. Is that correct? Huh? Sure, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware, you compared the Board of Commissioners, and I just want to make sure you understand that townships meet once a month, maybe twice a month. We meet 50 times a year. And most of the time, we meet about 60 meetings in a year. We have typically tried an evening meeting before. Keep in mind, all our people work just like you do and all your friends do. They work here from early in the morning until the afternoon. When they get pulled into a 7:00 meeting at night, there are expenses here that have to be borne. Other expenses that we don't expend for a regular meeting. That's why the meetings are at 10 a.m. We've tried 7:00 meetings, and we've even tried public meetings at 7:00. I've probably been in attendance 6 or 7 times to those meetings. Those start out great. A lot of people come, even when you're building a new sewer system in their community. And then as the meetings go on, people are less and less and less. And then you end up with the same folks that you end up in here. Commissioners are available 24/7, 7 days a week. We carry cell phones. We have all kinds of ways that people can get a hold of us. And we are open to meet with any person from the community, here in this office or in some other location throughout the county. So that's why we've never really entertained 7:00 meetings at night. I just want to make sure you understood where that was, and where now there's 3 commissioners here, and they can all talk about that. You're just listening to one. So, if you have some comment or
I'll just say I served as a township trustee for 19 years. It was the same 2 or 3 people usually that came. You don't draw that much public interest at these meetings. They elect you. They depend on you to make the decisions and govern the best that you can. If they don't like you, they'll vote you out. But the meetings are not well attended at trustee meetings either. So, Mr. Corcoran, anything?
No comment.
Okay.
that's why we really haven't really looked at that, because it hasn't worked. But you made the suggestions, so we'll definitely look at it. We'll talk to our staff about it. We'll see what the recommendations will be. But one of the things that I would encourage that anyone that wants to talk to a commissioner can schedule that time at any time. Phone, Zoom, any other media there is. We always entertain public participation in this meeting because we want, if somebody really has an issue that they need to come in here, someone's encroaching on their properties, someone is doing something, we want to make sure they're able to get to us in this meeting. So, I would encourage you also to take a look at that too. Because if you have, a lot of friends that, you could bring to a meeting sometime, one of us as a commissioner, we'd love to do that. They could come here, we'd do something at night or make a phone call or a Zoom. I know my younger kids all use Teams and, all the different social media that's available. And so do we. So that might be a really good way to do it. Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else, commissioners? And moving on to item K, I would accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Gail?
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.